Base Chief ignored her warning until the alarm confirmed exactly what she predicted. Specialist Torres. The words hit like a verdict. You put a security concern in writing. You CC'd my deputy. You CC'd the watch officer. You CC'd the base communications log. Colonel Harlan Briggs let the folder drop onto the table between them. It landed flat, deliberate. So, either you think I don't read my own reports, or you think I'm incompetent. Which is it, sweetheart? The question cuts through the operations room like a blade dragging across metal. 41 people stand in formation outside the glass wall. Instructors with clipboards. Maintenance crew paused mid-task. 3 intelligence analysts at adjacent terminals who have stopped pretending to type. Colonel Briggs delivered that last word with a slight lean forward, dropping his voice just enough that anyone close enough to hear it would feel the intimacy of the condescension, the kind of delivery that invites everyone else in earshot to quietly enjoy what's happening to someone beneath them. Colonel Harlan Briggs, Base Commander, Joint Intelligence Operations Center, Naval Air Station Rota, Spain. 43 years old. Silver oak leaf insignia on each collar. A chest rack of ribbons that reads like a highlight reel. Combat action, joint service commendation, meritorious service, 3 rows deep. He stands with his arms crossed at the exact angle of a man accustomed to being the heaviest object in any room. His shadow falls across her workstation. It is not accidental. She does not look up. Her name, according to the temporary badge clipped to her left breast pocket, is Elena Torres, Specialist Grade, Embedded Signals Intelligence Analyst, assigned 30 days ago from a DC contractor pool no one had heard of. 29 years old. Brown hair in a regulation bun, not a strand misplaced. A plain gray technical uniform with no rank insignia beyond the Specialist tab. Smaller than the men around her by 4 to 6 inches. She sits with the stillness of a person who decided, some time ago, what stillness costs, and concluded it was worth it. Her hands continue moving across the keyboard. Her breathing is controlled. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. She finishes the sequence. Her eyes do not move from the screen. Colonel. She stops typing. Not because he told her to. Because she is finished with the sentence she was completing. The signal anomaly I reported is coming from the Eastern Relay Array. Sector 7. The pattern matches pre-intrusion probing activity documented in the 2021 Ramstein incident. She places her hand flat on the folder he dropped. My recommendation stands. Briggs picks the folder up. He opens it. He takes exactly 4 seconds to review what took her 6 hours to compile. Then he closes it. Your recommendation. He says it the way people say, bless your heart in certain parts of the country. You've been here 30 days. The Ramstein incident was a false positive that cost the taxpayers $11 million and made 3 careers disappear. I'm not authorizing a sweep based on pattern matching by a contractor who hasn't even passed her base access review. He sets the folder back on her desk, carefully, like he's returning something small and breakable that doesn't belong to him. We run our own signals analysis here, Miss Torres. We have people trained for that. He turns. The conversation, from his perspective, has ended. She watches him cross the operations room. Her face doesn't move. In the far corner of the room, near the environmental monitoring station, a man who has not spoken during any of this watches from a folding chair with the patience of someone who has run out of things to prove. Master Sergeant Leonard Polk, 61 years old, 34 years of consecutive service. The kind of face that has been in weather. He is supposed to be reviewing maintenance logs. His pen has stopped moving. He noticed something 20 minutes ago when Torres was inputting her preliminary sweep data. The authentication codes for the Eastern Relay Diagnostic Protocol. Operators at this installation take an average of 4 minutes to input those 17-character strings with their rotating cipher prefixes. He has timed it himself on slower days. She completed the sequence in 51 seconds. Not hurrying, not even focused on it. The way you do something that lives in your hands. He noticed her posture too. The way she held the room. Not like someone worried about her job. Like someone managing something she'd already anticipated. His pen stays still. He watches Briggs disappear into his private office. He looks back at Torres. She has already returned to the keyboard. The afternoon brings new indignities, and Elena Torres files them without expression. By 1400, the story has moved through the base the way all stories move through small installations, through group chats and mess hall whispers, and that particular military communications channel known as Everyone Knowing Everything by Dinner. The contractor girl in signals analysis got shut down by Briggs. Apparently, she wrote a 6-page threat assessment and CC'd the entire chain of command. Apparently, she thinks she found something in the relay data. Apparently, she's been corrected. The embellishments spread outward from there. By the time the story reaches the maintenance bay, she has apparently accused the colonel of professional negligence in writing. By the time it reaches the Western Barracks, she has apparently done this in front of 60 people. She eats alone at 14:30. Institutional tray. Water, not coffee. The mess hall is half full. She sits near the ventilation unit because its constant hum creates a partial acoustic buffer that makes her slightly harder to read from the adjacent tables. She eats with systematic efficiency. And she listens. She is noting who sits with whom, who defers to whom by body language rather than rank. Which conversations stop when certain people walk past. Which people are comfortable with silence and which are not. She has been running this intelligence assessment since day 3 of her assignment. She has 14 pages of handwritten notes in a notebook that looks like a standard issue field journal and is not. Her threat assessment this morning was not a guess. It was the visible tip of something she has been building for 26 days. At 15:30, she is back at the Eastern Relay Diagnostic Terminal. The signal anomaly is still there. Smaller now, more careful. The kind of careful that arrives after a probe has been told to be quieter. She adjusts her sweep parameters, inputs a secondary authentication code to access the classified historical comparison database. 48 seconds. Master Sergeant Polk, crossing the floor behind her on his way to the equipment cage, sees the authentication timer on her screen in his peripheral vision. He keeps walking, but his jaw tightens. At 16:30, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Reyes, Briggs's deputy, the officer Torres CC'd on her original report, stops at her workstation on his way back from the security corridor. He is 37 years old, efficient, and careful in the way of a man who has watched ambitious subordinates get flattened by more powerful men and has decided to be the kind of person who neither creates nor destroys. The colonel's made his call, Torres. I'd drop it. He does not say this unkindly. You're here for 30 days on a routine audit. Don't make it complicated. Understood. She does not look up. Is there anything else? Reyes pauses. He looks at her screen. His eyes move across the data she has open. Something flickers across his face, just for a heartbeat, then it's gone. He walks away. By 1800, Briggs has formally requested an access review through base security. Routine, or framed as routine. The paperwork asks for verification of Torres's contractor credentials, her clearance origin documentation, and her technical certification chain. standard language. But the timing is not standard. And the CC list on the request includes the base security chief, the administrative records officer, and someone in logistics who has no obvious role in credential verification. She cooperates calmly with the review process when the security liaison approaches her at 1845. His name is Petty Officer Sands. He is apologetic in the way of people following orders they find slightly embarrassing. Credential documentation, Torres? She produces it from a locked pouch in her left desk drawer. The documents are in order, completely in order. The kind of order that takes time to produce. Sands reviews each page. His expression cycles through something. I'll need to hold these for verification. Of course. She watches him take the folder. How long is the verification process? 24 to 48 hours. Understood. She controls her breathing. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. Is there anything else? Sands glances at her screen. He has no idea what he's looking at. He leaves. The operations room is quieter now. 23 people still at stations. The overhead lighting has shifted to the cooler evening setting. She inputs a final command into the Eastern Relay Terminal, one that does not show on the primary diagnostic log because it routes through a secondary monitoring channel she set up on day 7 using access credentials that Petty Officer Sands is currently holding in a folder, but that she does not require for what she just initiated. Her sleeve rides up slightly as she reaches across the keyboard. The fluorescent light catches the left forearm. A tattoo, not decorative. A shield, angular, institutional, rendered in dark blue-black ink with an insignia inside it that is not recognizable as any standard military branch emblem. Below the shield, 2 lines of text in a compressed font. Too small to read from any distance. But the shape of the insignia itself is specific. The kind of specific that has a file number somewhere in a classification system most people at this installation do not know exists. Master Sergeant Polk sees it from 11 feet away. He stops walking. His hand drifts to the wall. He stands very still for approximately 3 seconds. Then he turns and walks to his corner station. He sits down. He does not look at her again that evening. But his pen does not move at all. At 2200, Petty Officer Sands delivers a formal detention notice from Colonel Briggs's office. Her credentials cannot be verified through standard channels. Her access to the Eastern Relay diagnostic systems is suspended pending review. She is to remain in the base temporary housing unit, Building C, ground floor, until the verification process concludes or a determination is made. She acknowledges the notice with 2 words. Thank you. Building C, ground floor, Unit 4. Concrete walls, 3 inches thick. Metal bench along the left wall. A small window near the ceiling that shows a rectangle of sky, navy blue now, 1 star visible in the corner of the frame. The smell of industrial cleaner, failing to fully cover something older. Something chemical. Something that belongs to rooms where difficult conversations happen. 6 feet by 9 feet. A door that locks from the outside. This is the near-fail moment. The point where anyone watching from the outside would think she's finished. Caught. Credentials pulled. Officially detained by a base commander with 41 ribbons and the authority to make this problem disappear into paperwork. Game over. Except she has been in rooms like this before. Smaller rooms, worse companies, and the men who put her in those rooms are the reason she knows exactly what happens next. She sits on the metal bench. She does not pace. She breathes. Her watch, standard issue on the outside, very much not on the inside, displays 22:14 in military format. She counts backward. In 31 minutes, The secondary monitoring protocol she routed through the relay system's maintenance channel will complete its first diagnostic cycle and flag an anomaly at a classification level that requires automatic notification to Naval Network Warfare Command. Not a recommendation, a mandatory notification. The flag will go out at 22:45, whether or not anyone at this installation wants it to. In 67 minutes, 23:21, a protocol she initialized on day 14 of her assignment will activate automatically through a contact at a number no one on this base has. Her 48-hour check-in window will have closed without confirmation. The resulting alert goes to a specific unit at a specific building at the Washington Navy Yard, which is not the kind of unit that sends emails in response. In approximately 3 hours, somewhere around Aura 115, Colonel Harlan Briggs is going to learn the difference between administrative authority and the kind of authority that does not announce itself until it is already in the room. Her watch reads 22:15. She controls her breathing. Nobody thought to take the watch. She planned that 3 months ago. The alarm that Briggs ignored sounds at 22:46. Not a loud alarm, a quiet alarm. The kind that appears on secure terminals as a red banner with a 14-character alphanumeric code that nobody at Naval Air Station Rota has ever seen activate in real time. Lieutenant Commander Reyes is the one who sees it first. He is alone in the operations room completing the evening security summary when the banner appears on 3 screens simultaneously. He stares at it. He reads the code once. He reads it again. He knows the code. Not from memory. From a briefing he attended 2 years ago at the Pentagon, where an officer from Naval Network Warfare Command used it as an example. Specifically, as an example of the kind of automated flag that would indicate a genuine pre-intrusion probe on a classified relay installation. The officer at that briefing had said, and Reyes remembers this clearly, "If you ever see this code activate on your watch, your first call is not to your commanding officer, it is to this number." Reyes dials the number. It rings once. A voice answers that does not give a name. By 23 hours, Briggs is awake. By 23:12, he is in the operations room in civilian clothes and official temper, asking Reyes what exactly has happened and why his phone is ringing from a number he does not recognize. By 23:18, Reyes is explaining the secondary diagnostic flag and its classification code while Briggs stands at the terminal reading the same 14 characters with an expression that moves through phases. His jaw tightens. Then his pen, he is holding a pen, a habit from briefings, stops moving. Then his face cycles through 2 contrasting states: administrative confidence and something that is trying very hard not to become doubt. Where did this flag originate? Eastern Relay Array, sir. Sector 7. Briggs looks at the code again. His eyes narrow. He says nothing. At 23:23, the base security system receives an access notification from an external node. The notification is not a request. It is an advisement. 4 vehicles are en route from Naval Station Rota's main gate. Not standard transport. Command birds, black SUVs with federal plates, and a lead vehicle bearing Pentagon liaison markings. Estimated arrival, 12 minutes. Briggs looks at Reyes. Who called them? Reyes is quiet for a moment. I believe the secondary protocol did, sir. Automatically. He pauses. When Torres's check-in window closed. The name lands in the room differently than it did this morning. Briggs goes rigid. Wake up the duty officer, he says, and get Torres out of Building C. They walk her across the compound at 23:36. She walks at her own pace. She does not appear relieved. She does not appear vindicated. She appears to be watching the sky. The stars are clearer now. away from the operations room lights, and thinking about something that is not this installation. The 4 vehicles are already in the courtyard. 12 figures in dress uniform and 2 in civilian clothes with lanyards that catch the floodlights. The lead figure from the front vehicle is Rear Admiral Christine Salas. She is 53 years old and has a posture that was trained before most people in this courtyard were commissioned. Behind her, 2 men in federal law enforcement credentials and a woman in a gray suit with no badge visible and the kind of bearing that reads above the room. Behind them, 3 figures whose rank insignia make Briggs's chest rack look like a participation trophy. 3 generals, not visiting, here, with purpose. The kind of purpose that does not announce itself as purpose, it simply fills the space and reorders everything around it. Briggs steps forward. He's going to manage this. He is still managing this. Admiral Salas, I apologize for the confusion this evening. We had a credential irregularity with a contractor analyst that triggered an automated protocol. Colonel. Salas does not stop walking. Where is she? She's... He gestures behind him. Torres is standing 12 feet away. She has not changed clothes. Still the plain gray uniform. Still no rank insignia. Still the regulation bun. She meets the Admiral's eyes once, a brief, direct exchange. And then she looks at Briggs. Colonel. Her voice is the same volume it has been for 30 days. The probe on the Eastern Relay completed its penetration test at 22:43. Whoever ran it now has the authentication structure for the Sector 7 traffic routing table. You have approximately 90 minutes before they use it. The courtyard is quiet. Salas looks at her. Run it down. Torres does. She speaks for 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Clear, specific, no wasted words. By the time she finishes, the federal agent to Salas's left is already on a phone, and the woman in the gray suit is typing on a device no one else can see the screen of. Briggs watches this happen. Something in his face shifts. Master Sergeant Polk has come out of Building B. He is standing near the equipment cage door. He does not have permission to be in this courtyard. He is here anyway. He watches Torres speak. His face does something, not surprise. Recognition. The kind that arrives when something you suspected confirms itself past any reasonable doubt. At 23:44, Admiral Salas turns to the group and says 4 words that rearrange the gravity of the courtyard. Pull her file. The woman in the gray suit produces a tablet. She angles it toward Salas. Salas looks at the screen for 8 seconds. Then she looks at Briggs with an expression that is perfectly controlled and entirely devastating. Colonel, do you want to tell me what you did with her detention notice? Or should I? Briggs opens his mouth, closes it. His hand, the one holding the pen from the briefing, drifts slightly at his side. Then the woman in the gray suit turns the tablet so that it faces the courtyard. The screen is bright in the dark. The people close enough to see it read it. And the reading has a physical effect. The sleeve of Torres's uniform is riding up slightly in the night air. The tattoo on her left forearm catches the tablet's light, the dark shield, the angular insignia inside it, the 2 lines of compressed text. The Rear Admiral sees it. She goes still, not surprised. But something, an old recognition, the kind that lives in the body before it reaches the mind. One of the 3 generals behind her sees it. His hand, at his side, makes an involuntary motion, begins to rise, halts, then rises fully. He salutes. It is not a casual salute. It is a formal, deliberate, full-dress salute, rendered to someone across a floodlit courtyard in the middle of the night. The kind that happens when a person of genuine authority comes into the presence of a higher authority and chooses not to pretend otherwise. The second general follows. a beat behind. But there. The third, 4 seconds of stillness, during which he reads the tablet screen a second time, and then his hand rises. Admiral Salas salutes. Reyes, standing behind Briggs, sees this happen. He does something he has not planned and will not be able to explain later. He brings his hand up, a full salute, to a specialist-grade contractor standing in a courtyard at 2344, wearing a uniform with no insignia. The federal agent to Salas's left lowers his phone. The woman in the gray suit holds the tablet steady. The operations room window above the courtyard has 3 faces in it. They are not moving. The AC hum from the eastern building seems suddenly loud. A boot scrapes concrete somewhere. The flag on the main pole, the one that snaps and releases in the coastal wind every few seconds, makes a sound like a crack of something. Someone drops a credential badge in the doorway behind the generals. It clatters once. The sound travels. The silence is not empty. It has weight and texture. It fills the courtyard the way water fills a room, from the bottom up, reaching into every corner, changing the pressure on everything inside it. Briggs stands in the middle of it. He does not salute. Admiral Salas looks at him. He brings his hand up. Her real designation is spoken by Admiral Salas into the courtyard at 2347, for the record, in front of everyone present. Commander Elena Vasquez, not Torres. The name on the temporary badge is a cover designation, one of several she has operated under. Naval Special Warfare Command, DV Gyarsu attached. Classified operational tier above the clearance level of every uniformed person on this installation, including the 3 generals. The tattoo on her left forearm bears the insignia of a unit that officially does not exist in any public-facing military documentation, operating under a classified charter that has a case number above top secret. She was not sent to Naval Air Station Rota to conduct a routine signals audit. She was sent because someone at this installation has been providing access credentials to a foreign intelligence network for 11 months. Someone with sufficient rank to shape what gets flagged and what gets buried. Someone whose side income has been the systematic erosion of 3 allied networks in Southern Europe, 2 of which are now compromised beyond recovery. The relay probe tonight was not random. It was probing for the authentication pattern that would give that network full access to the Sector 7 routing table, the table that carries traffic for 6 NATO partners. She set up the secondary monitoring protocol to catch it in real time. The antagonist did not launch a security investigation against a contractor analyst. He launched a security investigation against the one person authorized to investigate him. His detention notice triggered her check-in alert. His credential pull created the administrative record that will become the first exhibit in a federal prosecution. His own official actions built the case. He destroyed himself. The consequences arrived the way real consequences arrive, not theatrical, not announced. The federal agents asked Briggs to accompany them inside. Quietly. No raised voices. Reyes watches this happen with his hands at his sides and the expression of a man who saw the right report this afternoon and is only now understanding why. 2 security officers follow. A door closes. At Irojuan and Savine, Commander Elena Vasquez stands at the window of the Eastern Operations Room. The building is mostly quiet. Salas and her team are in the secure briefing room, managing the relay exploitation response in coordination with the Naval Network Warfare Command duty officer. The probe that went out tonight was intercepted before it could be used. The authentication data it captured will need to be rotated across 6 partner networks by Eero 600. She is looking at the courtyard below. The floodlights are still on. The vehicles are still there. In the distance, coastal Spain is doing whatever coastal Spain does at 01117, sleeping or pretending to. Master Sergeant Leonard Polk appears in the doorway behind her. He has not been asked to be here. He knocks on the door frame anyway. She turns. He is 61 years old and has served 34 years, and he has seen most things worth seeing in a military context. He stands in the doorway with his cap in his hands and looks at her the way someone looks at a thing they suspected was true and are grateful to find out it was. "I knew," he says. "The authentication sequence. Day 2. He's quiet for a moment. "I didn't know who, but I knew." She looks at him. "Why didn't you say anything?" He turns his cap once in his hands. "I was waiting to see if I was right." Something that might be a smile crosses her face. Not quite, but adjacent to one. He nods once. Then he puts his cap back on. Then he does something that is entirely his own choice, made without hierarchy or command. He brings his hand up, a full salute. Held. She returns it. He turns and walks back down the corridor. They ignored her warning. They forgot that the warning was the kindest thing she offered them. She stands at the window for another moment. The courtyard is settling. The night is cold and clear. She checks her watch. 0119. The rotation protocols are running. Solis's team is in the brief. Reyes is writing a statement that will read very differently in the morning than it would have yesterday morning. There is still one name on her list she has not found. The 11th member of the network. The one who recruited Briggs. The one whose operational signature she has traced through 3 countries and whose face she has never seen clearly, only a surveillance image taken from a rooftop position in Ankara 18 months ago, showing a figure at a distance, looking up at a camera they did not know was there. Someone was there. Someone is still operating. The thread runs somewhere she has not followed yet. She looks at the sky above the courtyard one more time. The stars have shifted. The flag on the main pole has gone still. Tomorrow brings new ghosts to hunt. Every soldier carries a story that few ever hear. Listen with your heart. Thank you for staying and watching. Subscribe to MVP Stories for more.